Welcome back to the Pause Pod. It's your boy Pause Prince. Today I'm accompanied by a model. She's a designer. She's an overall beautiful soul. Let's give it up for Erin. I feel like the soundtrack.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to the pod. Just to give a little backstory on Erin, she was like a walk-in here at PSA. I think you met Matt first, and then I don't know when was the first. I think it might have been during the Von Frederick archive.
Yep.
And we had you do like a little runway thing.
And I almost didn't come in because I tried to push the door, but then it was like closed and I thought it was locked.
I know. We got to tell the landlord, like we've been telling our landlord to fix our door because it's like angled and people think it's closed, but when it's open. You want then slowly, like obviously your style speaks for itself too, but then we started to realize like you start making your own clothes. And these are new. I know.
My Yuca pants.
That's fire. That's considered like applique. Have you ever heard of that?
No, what's that?
It's like a form of embroidery. Like when you cut material and then you like sew it onto other stuff.
That's cool.
I've been thinking about that for like some hoodies.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because I think I do a lot of patchwork because my sewing didn't really come from a technical background. So if I kind of, instead of getting stuck in this mind space, like, oh, I don't know how to make a shirt, I don't know how to make sleeves, I don't know how to put a garment together from scratch. I think I just take what I have and then I'm like, okay, well, I can make it my own. So that's where the appliques, the patchwork is like really one of my biggest inspirations because maybe I can't make a pant, but I'm gonna make it my own pant.
I love that. I was wondering if that's considered creating or curating because you're kind of like taking stuff that already exists. But also at the same time, I feel like now there's so much like new brands and new material that it makes a lot of waste. So I like when people repurpose, and like that's kind of what we did with like a few jackets that I got from Melvin's, and you know which one I'm talking about, like the mechanic jacket.
Oh,
and then,
yeah.
like, I'll find like stuff at the thrift and I'll add my logos, and it's also like bringing life to old items and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly kind of where my mindset came from as well, because these pants, they're actually men's pants from the thrift store. And then this fabric was just like red fabric that I had bought from Joann's. And then I feel like a lot of my kind of background is influenced by the fact that I come from a lot of history of domestic violence. And I feel like a lot of times it was my voice that people in my environment were trying to shut down. So the way I found to express myself is through my clothes. And I think when I put these things to repurpose, my goal is to kind of make things, turn old things to make them feel like, breathe new life into them, kind of like the way I do to myself is like coming from this certain background, and I can just breathe new life into myself to feel confident and, you know, come back from whatever was trying to take my confidence away from me before.
That's right. And if we could just get like some backstory, like, so you're not originally from Chicago, right?
No.
So could you tell the people where you're from?
Yes, I am from Charlotte, North Carolina, 704, Queen City.
You were born there?
Yes, born and raised. I lived there. My parents are not from there. My mom is from Ohio and my dad's from West Virginia. And just because I know we're going to get into this topic later, but just context, I am just white, but I speak Spanish, and that's very much heavily influenced who I am, what I do, my purpose, my motivation, the way I look at the world. But nobody else in my family speaks Spanish, so that's something that's just been my own kind of experience in deviating from the way that I grew up. So born in the South, raised in the South. And then when I was 18, I went to DC to originally study at George Washington University. My dad kicked me out when I was 19. So then I just moved to DC. And then I was there 8 years. I did not graduate college, but I did a whole bunch of other stuff.
Nice.
And just, I will say Charlotte is definitely the city that saw me be born. DC is the city that saw me grow a lot into the person that was able to lead me to where I am now. And then Chicago, I decided that I needed to take control of my life. I needed a second chance at life. So I came here August 2024, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah, because when you walked into the shop, that had to be like, maybe like November. It was around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because it was like Black Friday and all that stuff. But okay, so why Chicago?
So originally, I never saw myself living in the Midwest at all. Never dreamed of it. Never even never thought of it. And then in August 2023, actually, I came to Chicago for the first and only time before moving here. I came on a random trip with this random guy. And something when I came here, I had no expectations of what Chicago was going to be. And I think when I came here, because of those no expectations, something was calling to me in the city. I don't really know why or what. And then around that fall, so like that was August 2023, then like September and October, I was just like, what am I doing with my life? And I kind of thought about it like, something in Chicago's calling me, and like I should, start to figure out whether I can have a second chance at life. So I applied to the fashion program in SAIC, and I did not think I was going to get in. But not only did I get in, I got in with a scholarship, a merit scholarship.
Wow.
And so when I found that out, that was February 2024, and I was like, okay, I have to go to Chicago. Like, and in my mind, I kind of knew I wasn't actually going to be able to study because that's a very expensive school. But just the idea of the fact that I got accepted and I got a merit scholarship, that showed me that, okay, other people believe in me, so I should believe in myself.
Facts.
So I came here. Didn't end up studying either way, but I came here as a second chance because I was like, what, I just need to figure it out. And I've been, really going into my own self, really doing a lot of inner work. Who am I? What do I want? What's my motivation? What's my purpose? Yeah. And looking back in hindsight, I'm so glad I didn't go study, because I think that would have just like put too much pressure on me. Like, you
would have been in debt.
Yeah. And it would have just thrown me into a space that I didn't really need to go into. Because let's say I did end up graduating and I did get these technical skills, I probably would have been so distracted that I wouldn't have done this inner work and I wouldn't know who I am. So it still wouldn't make any difference.
Yeah. It like all worked out how it was supposed to.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, I can't imagine going to a city where I don't really know anybody. What are some of the challenges that come with like moving to a city that you don't know?
I will say, first and foremost, let's get this out the way. I say this all the time. The weather is such a culture shock. Yeah. Oh my God. Because being from the South, I feel like just the humidity in the air, and also moving from Charlotte, North Carolina to DC was not really a big change in weather. And so I never had thought about that. I don't know why I thought Chicago was just going to be like kind of the same, just a little bit colder. No, was I wrong?
DC's they don't have snow?
They do, like, but it comes maybe like 1 or 2 days and then it leaves. And then also like, it's better than Charlotte. Like Charlotte, nobody knows how to drive in the snow. Everything shuts down at the threat of an inch of ice. So I don't know what to do in the snow. Seeing everyone just continue life in the snow, I'm like, like we gotta leave our house, like nothing's gonna get shut down. But also just the isolation, because not only is it just cold as fuck. Sorry, can I cuss?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so.
Not only
cuss on your YouTube.
Yeah, I do. Because you know what, how I talk is how I talk. So boom. Yeah. But not only is just the weather just so cold, I was just so alone, and I think that just sent me into like a spiral, and I just kind of shut everyone out and shut everything out, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this, and I'm going to focus on what I need to confront about myself and a lot of healing. So at first I hated the weather, but then I was like, okay, at least it serves a purpose. But I think another challenge is just the lack of community that I haven't been able to establish. But I think little by little, I've been able to meet artists that have impacted me in my short time in Chicago. And I think that's another thing. When you move cities, I think you should have in mind, why are you moving? So me, I needed a second chance at life. And I knew part of this thing that I needed to discover in Chicago was meet new people, be surrounded by artists, be surrounded by people with healthy habits. Because in DC, I was just surrounded by alcoholism. I was surrounded by just myself picking the wrong spaces to be in because I didn't love myself. I wasn't really in a space to confront all these things that I needed to change. And I think, so it can be scary to move to a city where you don't know anybody or you don't have family or nothing. But I think it's beautiful because it's like, okay, well, I'm about to see what I'm made of. And I think in general, I already did that when I moved to DC. I had some friends in DC because of the friends I met in college. But I think it wasn't really a scary decision because it was like, well, I know I have to do this because this is the next step that's going to get me to where I want to be in my artist career, in my journey, in my path. And I think what we all want, our dreams, our goals, our ambitions are right on the other side of fear. So you got to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, I love that. Have you have you had a hard time like building the YouTube, or are you kind of just treating it as like do you see yourself as a YouTuber, or is it just like documenting your life?
I definitely see myself as a YouTuber.
Okay.
I think ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be an entertainer in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. That's what I was gonna ask. Like, what do you consider yourself if you're like?
I think what I really truly consider myself is a seeker of knowledge and a preserver of history. And I think the way that I view doing my YouTube, and I think the way I view doing all of my other art, is just on this basis of doing everything with a genuine curiosity and using everything as a preservation of history, because I think our own history, like our own personal story, can contribute to this grander history. So like ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be an entertainer. I loved being in the spotlight. I'm very vocal and opinionated, and I'm very I will say maybe flashy, like in a sense with my fashion. I love bright colors. I love bold things. I love making bold statements. I love saying things to make people think. I love confronting awkward things in conversation. However, back in 2017, when I got kicked out of my house, I remember I moved in. Well, my friend, she let me stay with her for a month. And we were sharing a twin bed, and we were actually going to like start our own YouTube channel. But I think it didn't work out because I think in that moment I didn't know who I was. And I was just going through all these crazy things at a young age. And I think that it would have been, if it had worked out where I became viral at that age, I wouldn't have really known what to do with all of that. Yeah. So I think this past time in this, how 8 years that it's been since 2017, that's good, I've really been just discovering who I am. And I think now the way I view my YouTube, I started just posting my videos as a way to challenge myself to get over this fear of being cringe, the fear of being perceived, the fear of like, what if people don't like what I have to say? Like, who cares? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, I care about what I have to say. And for me, it's a personal project of like, okay, I can go back a year from now and see, okay, I posted my first video on January 31st, 2025. What was I going through? What was I wearing? What was my hair like? What accessories was I wearing? What was I talking about?
Was that your first video? Oh, damn.
And I think like, I've uploaded 20 episodes, I call them, and I already categorize them into like chapter 1 of like, because in Spanish it's called La Libreta La Yuca, which is like Yuca's notebook. So I have like my first chapter of my little notebook. Awesome. And there's been 20 episodes, and even the way that I speak in the 20th episode is so different from the way that I speak in the first. Because everything's
in Spanish, right? Even the first video.
Yeah, all the videos are in Spanish, but I feel like I can just see a difference in my confidence, and also like not really caring the way that I speak or making a mistake, or because I feel like just keep pushing myself to upload a video, not for people to see me necessarily. Like, I'm not posting these videos right now to be like, oh, everybody, I want fame right now. No, I'm using it as a way to document what I'm going through. Oh, yeah. And I know one day it's gonna se va a pegar, you know? Like, I know one day it's gonna stick. I don't think that makes sense in English. One day it's gonna
No, yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Okay, well, like one day I know it's gonna, because people, and I hope this doesn't come across as like me being arrogant, but I feel like a lot of people have told me that I have very interesting stories. I have very interesting experiences. And like a lot of people have told me just in passing, like, oh, you should write a book. I would totally read a book about your life. Okay. And I don't think my strong suit is writing, because again, it's kind of connected to like people kind of trying to shut me down a lot ever since I was a kid. But this notebook, my libreta is like a way for me to write a book, but just verbally. It's like a out loud storytelling of my story. And hopefully I know that when it sticks, it's going to be able to inspire people to be more vulnerable. Because I think that's one thing that I would really love to see from artists and from people in general, more vulnerability. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's why I did the podcast, and I'm trying to talk more into the camera too. But it's crazy because like your Spanish is really good.
Thank you.
And like it took, so my first language is Spanish. And then I think when I was like 5 when we came to the United States, because I'm from Bogota.
Hey, Rolo.
Yeah. So when we came to United States, I think I learned from like TV or like friends in school. I learned English, and now I feel like I lost a lot of it. We should do the second half of this video in Spanish. Just
We
like practice.
should.
But explain to me how, like, if nobody in your family, like, how do you teach yourself Spanish? Was it like in school or?
So, okay. My mother, she put me in a public, so my school was a public school, but it's a language immersion magnet program. So I don't know if they have that in Chicago, but it's kind of like
bilingual classes?
Yeah, but it's like where, like, do you guys have homeschools in Chicago? Like, basically where you live, you have to go to that public school. If you don't go to like a private school or something.
Yeah, public schools. You got to go in the area.
Okay, yeah. So that's how it is in Charlotte too. But like this school was a magnet school. So basically anybody can apply from anywhere in the city, and it's not a private school, so you don't have to pay. But it's like a lottery program. So if you get accepted, you get accepted. So my mom, she put me in that school, and luckily I got accepted. It was like divine intercession or whatever, because I swear me learning Spanish changed my life completely. I would be a different person if I didn't know Spanish. But so ever since I was 5 years old, I was in that school, and in kindergarten the whole day was in Spanish. 1st to 5th grade was half the day in Spanish, half in English. So we learned math, social studies, and Spanish literature in Spanish. And then we learned English, literature, and science in English. And then in 6th grade to 12th grade, we merged with the same type of program, but different languages. So we didn't have the whole day in Spanish. Everybody had their language class, and then the rest of our core classes was in English. And then after high school, I'm a nerd for languages. I love the way that I love studying grammar. I love studying like the sentence structure. I love studying the way people use language in different countries, different scenarios. I love just the way language can be an art form in and of itself. And so I think that was just always something that allowed me to capture Spanish easier, maybe, because not everybody that came out that program speaks Spanish the way that I do. And again, I hope that doesn't sound arrogant, but it's okay to be. I feel like just part of my passion innately of learning languages kind of carried me to a certain level. And so do you know any more languages, or is it just Spanish? I do not speak any languages fluently besides English and Spanish, but I'm learning Portuguese. My dream is to go to Brazil and be like so immersed in Brazilian culture. And then also I won a scholarship to study Arabic in Morocco in the summer between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college. So that was summer 2016, which everyone says is the best summer. And yes, it really was. I feel like 2006 and 2016 were good years for a lot of people. I don't know why, but it's just 2006, I was 8 years old. But when I think 2006, I think baggy, Y2K, just the era, and yeah, it was probably when Soulja Boy came out. I don't know, that era. A carefree. Yeah, the ringtones and stuff. We were the ringtones. Yeah, because now I can't even pick my own ringtone on my iPhone. Technology is that's a whole other thing, which is something that I would love to see artists steer away from as well. All this AI and ChatGPT. Oh, that's so the opposite of what is the purpose of art and being an artist. The last post you made where you have letters in red, that wasn't made with AI? That's my own handwriting. That's made with my iPad and Procreate. Because I know a lot of people have been using AI and then they make it look like ketchup. I thought that's what you did, but now I'm glad that I would like to break the fourth wall and tell everybody to stop using AI, stop using ChatGPT, because not only is it just so lazy, it's just the opposite of what it means to be an artist. It's the opposite of what it means to be an artist, but also it's so detrimental. It uses slave labor. AI uses to maintain their data centers, it uses slave labor in Kenya and also in the US. It's so bad for the environment. I don't know if you've seen the stories that's coming out of rural Black communities. Their air and their water sources are being poisoned even more because of these data centers that's just polluting everything around it. And I think also in Memphis, I've seen stories come out of Memphis where people are talking about how it's damaging their communities and stuff like that as well. So I think we need, as artists, there's a quote by Tony Kadebambara. I don't know if I'm saying that person's name right, but they said that the role of the artist is to make the revolution irresistible. And I think as artists, we have a responsibility because I think as artists, we are more empathetic. We are more connected to our emotions just in general.
Yeah.
And I think we need to use that to tap into allowing other people to see or lean into this empathy towards what are these things doing to other people in our own planet, in our own human social ecosystem. And I think if you're using AI and ChatGPT as an artist, like you're not really using your responsibility the right way.
With Spanish, the way that you speak it is not like it's not like Mexican Spanish, which I grew up a lot around, because I feel like my area specifically, like everybody was Mexican. I didn't have any Colombian. There's a few like Puerto Ricans, but your Spanish is almost like Dominican, or like I feel like the accent, it gives it like Dominican, or like you talk like you're like off the coast. You know, why is that?
So I will say growing up in that school, I will say we had all of our teachers that were teaching us the subjects in Spanish, they were from Spanish-speaking countries. So I had teachers from Colombia, Mexico. I had a teacher from Texas who was like Mexican heritage. I had it from Argentina, Spain, which that's a whole other topic. And so I think in general, I was very exposed to a lot of different accents. And also the school that I went to was very diverse. And Charlotte, when I was growing up there was in general like a lot of Mexicans, there was Hondurans, Venezuelans, Colombians. So I had like even Ecuadorian friends. So I think I grew up around a lot of different accents. And maybe that neutralized my accent when I was growing up at first, because it was more used in like an academic environment, because I wouldn't speak Spanish at home. But then when I moved to DC, my first friend, and I call her one of my angels that God sent me in my life, she's Dominican, and I met her. And she was the first person who ever gave me like a safe space to be myself. And she helped me find my voice as well, especially in English. And she always would tell me, Erin, you need to put some bass in your voice. And so I think, and because she's Dominican, I'm very, and she was always the one that was like, okay, put some bass in your voice. So I'm like, okay, well, how do I do that? So I would always take inspiration from the way she communicates, because she's a poet also. She articulates herself so beautifully. And I think just being around her also like influenced my Spanish to be very Caribbean. And then I was getting really into Spanish music around 2017. And I just really ended up like very inspired by Puerto Rican artists and like the couple new waves, or like the more recent waves of Puerto Rican artists. But like I will say like there's so many different genres like within what people would like say, oh, is reggaeton, you know? Like there's like Puerto Rican trap, or just, you know, just so many genres. But then in DC, I will say the population of like Latinos is mostly Salvadorans, and now there's a lot of Hondurans as well. So that gave me a really Central American vocabulary, accent, all this. But then there was a heavy Colombian influence, because I started working with hella Colombians. And then I think like after like just working with so many people just in Spanish, and then I was really, really heavy in like Puerto Rican and Caribbean music as well, because I love bachata as well, which is from Dominican Republic.
Oh, you're a dancer too, right?
Oh yeah, I love dancing. Salsa, bachata, merengue, cumbia.
But like as a teacher, or this is just like for fun?
It's like, for me, dancing is healing. I think I used to live very disconnected from my body. So I think dancing kind of brought my emotional, spiritual side connected with my physical. And I feel like more present in my body when I go social dancing. So it's very much a healing activity for me.
I remember you were talking to somebody who was here at the studio about, was it like go-go? Or like something that was specific to like
the day that we had the music.
The listening party. Yeah,
so go-go is a music that's from DC. And I don't know if you know this, DC used to be called Chocolate City because it was one of the most, how can I say, like it was, majority of the population in DC used to be black. So go-go is definitely like a black DC, a music that was born from the culture of black people in DC. And so there's a dance called like beating your feet to go-go music. I don't know how to do it. I never learned how to do it because I never met anybody.
It's like similar to footwork? Or
I will say probably, because footwork is like a very Chicago thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a lot of footwork, but I don't really know what is Chicago footwork, like a good example.
True.
So I think
wish I could show you, but I'm not an answer. But I know you and Aurora would click. Have you met my fiance? Aurora?
No, I think I've seen her, but I haven't been able to have like an extensive conversation with her.
I need you guys to meet, just because like she's always talking about dancing, and it's one thing that like I can't like I'll dance, but like once you acknowledge that I'm dancing or like compliment me or just even like make me think about it, that's when I'm like, all right, I need to stop, because I'm like in my head too much.
It's kind of like you don't want to be perceived dancing. Right. Okay.
And then I have this wedding coming up and I'm just like so nervous. Like, because it's like there's so much pressure for me to dance, and it's just like I just want to like enjoy my wedding. But she tells me all the time, and then she's like, oh, I just want to dance. Or like she says it's like, she's like, if the revolution doesn't have dancing in it, I don't want to do it. I
agree. That's so true. That is so true.
She's very, you guys are good.
Where's she from?
She's Mexican, but she's from Chicago.
That's so cool. Can she do footwork?
I'm sure she could do everything. I feel like she's talked about like wanting to do like choreography, and she'll always like bust out and dance. But Mexicans have it's like, I forgot what it's called.
learned how to dance norteñas.
It's probably that. I don't know what it is, but it's like stomping on the floor.
There's a lot of different I'm not really as familiar with like different Mexican dances, low key, because I think just musically, I am very more into like Caribbean music and stuff. But one of my friends that I met in Chicago, he's Mexican, and so he took me to a baby shower, and they were playing norteñas. So he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna teach you how to dance norteñas." But there's I can't really. I know what you're referring to, like
tamborazo, or no?
Is it the same?
Sapa. I feel like it just reminds me of like boots, because they're always like stomping.
Like, I don't know if you've seen the videos of like going to jaripeos, like where they go to like these like areas and they're dancing. Like the girls have like the cute outfits with like the jeans and the cowboy boots and stuff. Maybe, but I don't know what type of dance is going on with that.
I think that one's a little crazier because it's like more like grinding, right? Like super close to each other.
I just see the ones where they like do the quebraditas, where they're like boom, 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 and then they like dip the girl like real fast. Okay. But honestly, I feel like I'm definitely not the correct person to be dissecting Mexican dances, because I'm not familiar with them.
But it's crazy because like I feel like you're almost, it's gonna be weird to say, but like more Hispanic than me, just because you've done the research of it and you've been around more Hispanics, and I've been more around like, I guess like Black and Mexicans, but like to me, I always like resented like my Spanish side. I think it's a assimilation, like coming here to the United States and like trying to learn this language and trying to be American, whatever that means. But I definitely want to tap back into my roots, and I'm always like, I wish I had that Colombian accent. I feel like sometimes it comes out, but to the Colombians, they always think I sound like Mexican when I speak Spanish or something.
I think it's like, I think, obviously you're very valid in that sentiment. I think for me, Spanish is so important, and it's very important for me to do my research and like be educated, because I'm not from this like Latino culture, but it's something that I have such a, like, I found community from my Black American friends and from my Latino friends. And I think to me, it's just a way of showing respect, because I'm invited into this culture. And it's such a compliment that you say that, like, you would consider me that I am Latina.
I thought you were like Argentinian.
Everyone says like, oh, you're Spanish or Argentinian. And I'm like, please, no. Like, I know why, but it's like, no, if I don't fuck with Spanish people, like Spanish people, I got beef with them. I got beef with Argentinians. I got beef with the British and the French. Okay. Like, they're so, but I think like,
because of colonization?
Yes.
Experiences that you've had? Okay.
Yes. And also, I used to work in a Spanish restaurant, and I really truly saw how, in general, Spain people, Europeans, they still function very much like white Americans, and I don't fuck with that at all. And that's why I say, like, going back to the full circle of like, I feel like I found community and love from my Black American and my Latino friends. So it's just like, I have to show this respect and give credit where it's due, because white people, like I'm white, my family is white, so they pass down these certain like mindsets and just growing up with that. But then growing up around people from different backgrounds, luckily, you know, they had the patience and the love, and they saw that I wanted to be better and I didn't really fuck with this like type of white mentality, you know? And just, I'm so thankful that they had the patience to kind of teach me, you know, really how the world functions and like open up my eyes, because now that's led me to where I am with my art and like giving, you know, just this whole like theme of community and love. I didn't grow up with that at home, but I found it in like people. I don't know if I'm
it's like your chosen family. I can hear it. I feel that because, obviously being separated from all my family in Colombia, my parents were like the first to ever like immigrate here to Chicago. I think a lot of my family went to Canada, but my parents went to, it's like a thing for Colombians to go to Canada. I think there's all the Colombians where like my family lives up there, because it's easier. I guess like the immigration process to get to the United States is a lot hard. But what was I saying? Oh, that I completely spaced. Wait, so
because you're Colombian and your parents are the first generation to come here to the U.S.
But what was I trying to say? What were you saying before that?
Because I found community in
your
my chosen family.
So my friends were my chosen family. My friends, for even like a lot of my childhood, I was like mean to my parents because I wanted to like impress my friends or what I thought were my friends, and then they ended up not even being that cool. And it's like, but then I found a group of friends that I do like. Obviously, Matt Jr. Like those are like my brothers. Like they feel like the closest thing I have to brothers. They're gonna be like my groomsmen. They're the padrinos to my like kids, you know. But it's like the family you choose, and sometimes like. Yeah, you can't help like where you're born. But what's your relationship with your family now?
So, like I mentioned, my dad, he kicked me out when I was 19. I haven't spoken to that man in 8 years. Actually, today's June 26th. June 30th will be the 8-year anniversary of me getting kicked out of my house. And, you know, that is just, honestly, in this 8 years, it was hard. But I'm so much better for it.
It's like a blessing in disguise.
Yes, very much so. My dad, so I got kicked out because essentially my dad is a horrible person. Very, very abusive, very violent, very racist, very homophobic, very sexist. And just growing up with all of that, my mom is very passive. My sister is very passive. I was always the black sheep in many different ways in my family, but I was always the one that was confronting that violence head on. And I will say, so my nuclear family is just my father, my mother, me and my younger sister. So I'm the oldest and I'm the daughter. So essentially I was the man of the household. And so, I was always the one confronting my dad. I was always the one like, you know, kind of stepping up and like, saying fuck you to his face, because of the way that he treated all of us. And, when he kicked me out, the reason is because when I got home from it was my first year in college, my freshman year, then I came home for 1 month because of summer vacation. And I remember when I came home, like I said, my friend, she was kind of just basically giving a lot of confidence. And so like a lot of the way that I spoke, in my voice, you could hear the difference. And like my friend, she's from the Bronx in New York. So her accent like obviously affected the way that I was speaking in English at the time because I was spending so much time with her. And so when I came home, and also at the time in high school and in college, I would get perms so that my hair could be curly because I have naturally straight hair, but I wish my hair was curly. And I was dyeing my hair and I started using makeup and I started being more like out there with my fashion. So when I came home, I think my dad, he saw this like more confident version of me that was even more willing to say fuck you in his face. And he couldn't really accept that. So I remember one day my mom, she came in my room and she started crying. And I was like, what's going on? Because I didn't really have a good relationship with my mom, but no matter what type of relationship you have with your mother, I think it's just so heartbreaking to see your mother cry. So I was like, what's going on? And she was like, what did you say to your dad? And I was like, what you mean? Like, I don't even talk to him. Like, if I see him, if he says hi, I'll say hi to be nice, but I do not go out of my way to say anything to this man. She was like, no, what did you say? And I was like, he said you're just being disrespectful. I'm like, you and me both know that he says anything that goes against his own opinion is disrespectful. Like, I don't speak to this man. And she's like, well, he said that if you keep being disrespectful, he's going to kick you out. And in that moment, I was like, oh, a word? I was like, okay. So then I bought my one-way ticket on a megabus from Charlotte to DC. Yeah. And then I was like, boom, bye. And then my mom, for a while, I tried to maintain a relationship with her. Unfortunately, she is a very male-centered woman.
What does that mean? Male-centered?
I will say like
passive? Or?
Well, not necessarily passive, but she's one of these women that has so much. She faced a lot of domestic violence and abuse when she was growing up as well. And that made her very insecure. And instead of facing her insecurities and trying to become a better person, she kind of stuck with this mindset of just like a lot of internalized sexism. So kind of, I guess a parallel would be somebody who is not white, but because they face so much racism, they kind of internalize it, and they're just not proud to be of the culture that they're from. So she's not really proud. She adopted these like mindsets that just kind of like do whatever she needs to do to please the man instead of like facing like what's right and what's wrong. And so unfortunately, coupled with the fact that she's more passive, she didn't really put my needs, she didn't really prioritize my needs as a kid or like prioritize like what was actually going on in the house. Yeah. And so she just let a lot of this abuse just go like unrecognized. And she just doesn't admit to anything. She just want to act like because she's out of the situation, like she don't have to face any more of the consequences. And I think she's just ashamed to look at her own part in all of that.
Yeah. I feel like parents, like as you grow up, they kind of forget, or they choose to forget. My dad sometimes calls it like selective memory. You remember, I'm not even going to say I have trauma, but you remember some moments a certain way, and then they remember it completely different. And I don't know if that's considered gaslighting, but they'll tell you like, no, I never said that, or I was never like that. But.
That's definitely gaslighting. Yeah. I just feel like, because my mom, she's not a dumb woman. She's very smart, but she's very selfish. And I remember I had this conversation because I haven't spoken to my mom in 3 years. And I really wanted to believe in my mom that she wanted to be a better person. But I remember having this conversation like right before the time that I kind of decided to cut her off. It was like kind of like not after the pandemic, because the pandemic's low key still going on, but like kind of 2021-ish. And I remember I looked at her in the face and I was like, just telling her, you know this happened, and you know this, and you know this. And she was like, just kind of sitting there, and I was like, yeah, so like, why did you not give a fuck about me? And she's like, to be honest, Erin, I had to prioritize your sister and myself, and I didn't have time to take care of you, and I didn't want to take care of you. And I was just like, that Pokemon, that white guy meme, that's literally how I was like, what? And at first it felt very validating because I was like, well, I already knew this from my childhood, but okay, thanks for telling me now. But at the same time, I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, okay, I don't need to like fall in love with the potential of her becoming this other person. She is who she is. She gave birth to me. But she never was the mother that I needed. So that's why I don't speak to her, because I know there's a whole thing about like, that's your family. But honestly, if my family is just dragging me down, then I'm just going to be stuck in the same toxic cycle. I'm never going to get better. I'm never going to achieve my dreams. Like, I don't want anyone to hold me back. And then my sister, I don't speak to her because she grew up with a completely different version of like my father and my mother. Yeah. They say like when you have kids, you have different parents. And I could say that because the way I parent my baby is different than how I parent my 7-year-old. Obviously there's 2 different mothers, but I was just a completely different person when I was 23. Yeah. And then I think like it's not, I don't want to say this in a way to like shame parents, like, oh, like don't treat your kids differently, because I don't have kids, so I don't truly know what it's like to be a parent, actually. But as a kid, my sister, obviously she saw certain levels of violence from my father, but my mother always protected my sister from that. At the cost of my own suffering. And my dad, he always used to try to triangulate us. So when you grow up with like a narcissistic parent, there's like a tactic where they will try to pit one child against the other. And my dad was always able to use my sister to kind of she never saw the things that he would do to the same level that I did. And she would always kind of just like be his little like person that he could manipulate into seeing the good side of him. And she didn't really see the things the same way that I do. And I think my parents, they are divorced, and like in all that messy process of divorce, my sister, she ended up living with my mom and my dad. And then it's just like really complicated. And she does not really truly understand the full extent of what I lived in my house and why I got kicked out and all of this other stuff. And she doesn't really understand like just the level of like psychological mind games that this man plays. And I don't think she really cares to get out of this complacency. And so we just don't really talk. And I wish that we did. I miss my sister and I always want the best for her.
What's the age difference?
15 months. So I'm January 98 and she's April 99. Yeah. And so I think like, and again, my sister is an adult. My parents are 2 adults as well. When you're an adult, you need to decide whether you want to keep going in the same pattern or whether you want to make a change in yourself to make a change in the world. And like I said, I've just always been the black sheep in my family, and I don't want to be around that. I don't want to be around people that don't want to make a change.
That's brave of you. A lot of people don't know how to like separate that, but yeah, I feel like I don't know what it's like to have a sibling, but
oh, you're an only child?
I'm an only child.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know what that means for my, like, if you look at me different now.
No, I think it's really interesting. What does that feel like, being an only child?
I guess, like it is a little lonely, but, like, growing up, but I think that's why I like, have so many friends, or, like, I try to make so many friends. But it was a lot of time to myself, too. And I think, like, that helped me become an artist, and I spent a lot of time like drawing and stuff.
You don't give only child vibes.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really know how to explain that. But it's because I feel like people that are only children, they kind of there's a stereotype that they don't really know like how to share, or they don't really know how to like make things not about themselves. And you've never given me that like that vibe that's like, I don't know, like. Yeah,
I don't think I'm narcissistic, but I feel like I do like especially with my brand, just like naming everything after myself. I'm like, damn, like, am I making everything about myself? But I don't know. And then it's also like, I got to create the world that I want to live in. But I'm noticing with my 7-year-old, he does not like his little brothers. He's got 2 little brothers, one on his mom's side, one on my side. And then he's like, he finds them annoying. He thinks they're copying them. He thinks they're copying him. He's like ready to like push them, fight them. I'm like, damn, like, I don't know. Like, I wish I had a brother, you know, like I wish I had like someone who I could work with, or like who I could know, like they always have my back. But I don't know, maybe it could be a situation like that where then we like hate each other and we're like arch nemesis. I'm not saying you hate your sister, but yeah, it could go either way. But I hope one day you and your sister at least like rekindle. Maybe she comes to Chicago, or you go back and visit. I don't know. But I wish the best for you. And I feel like like how I started this podcast, like you're a beautiful soul. You're like so nice, so easy to talk to.
Thank you.
You have like that hospitality. Like I think you said you're in
that
like,
Southern hospitality.
Right? Yeah. And if we can, I feel like just to like get back to like you as a creator. So do you want to consider yourself a designer or not yet? Or like,
I do, but it's like I consider myself more like a knowledge seeker and preserver of history, because I have different mediums through which I do that. One of them is fashion design. One of them is like interior design. One of them, I really wish I could study architecture. I really wish I could study architecture. And I also do scrapbooking, and like my collages that I post on Instagram, that's kind of like digital scrapbooking, what I call it. And photography, my videos, my YouTube, it's just like all these different mediums that I want to be able to express myself through. And I think like, I don't only want to be a fashion designer, because to be honest, I don't want to make a brand. I don't want to monetize off of my fashion for myself, because I don't want that to take away my I don't want that to take away the heart out of it. So what I've kind of started to establish is like from anything that I sell fashion wise is because I want to create it, and it's going to be a one-of-one piece, and that money is going to go to like mutual aid. Because I think as an artist, again, going back to this concept of like making the revolution irresistible, what can I do as an artist to put to do my part? And I think we all need to ask ourselves, like, what are we willing to sacrifice? And I think right now, what I can do is, use my fashion, use that money, not use that money for myself, but put that into something for people that need it way more than I do in this moment. I think we have a lot of privileges living here. And like, sometimes I just stop and I think like, people in Gaza, in Palestine, are literally being bombed. Like, what would I do if I was in that situation? Just like smelling death around me, seeing my loved ones bloody, covered in dirt, like just everything just exploding. It's so apocalyptic. And we are here in the heart of the empire in the US. What can we sacrifice to help just a little bit the situation that's going on, Yeah. Because what would I want from people living in the heart of the empire if I was over there, I think we all just need to like be willing to sacrifice a little bit more, especially people that are living here, And I think as artists, like, we need to put that art back into really making cultural changes and being the inspirers of the masses to engage in cultural change.
I love that. You definitely make me want to like do more. Like, you're inspiring for sure.
Thank you.
What have you been to like any Hispanic countries?
Yes, I've been to technically my first trip was to Spain in 8th grade. Right. Because in the program they have like this where you can go like 2 weeks to the country of the language that you're studying. So like the kids that would study French or German, they would go to France, Germany, Japan, and
this was in 8th grade.
And then the people that were studying Spanish, we got to go to Spain. So I was there for 2 weeks, and I was in the southern Spain. So I really loved the influence of like North African architecture and culture in southern Spain. But I've been to Costa Rica, and then I've been to El Salvador, which I have this like, because I spent so much time around Salvadorans in DC. I love Salvadorans down. I love them so much. They, and I love going to El Salvador. I have like...
Are they the ones that make pupusas?
Yes. Oh my God. Pupusas is one of my comfort foods.
Yeah.
And I hate for anybody that want to say that like a pupusa is a Salvadoran taco. No, it's not. It's not the same thing as a gordita either. It's so different. Okay, give each one their respect, their space. But oh my God. And also, hot take, Salvadoran horchata is better than Mexican horchata. Yes, I said it.
Yeah, I haven't had it, so I don't know.
It's because like...
Do they have any places in Chicago that sell Salvadorian?
I went to one pupuseria, but it's like, I don't even know where it is because I don't really know Chicago geography that well. But it wasn't like, it's just not the same, And like how here on every corner there's a taqueria, in DC on every corner there's like a pupuseria. So it's more like they're way better in the DMV. But actually the best pupuserias are low key in Maryland, which is like the outside, the M part of DMV. It's kind of like the metro area. But then I've also been to, actually no, those are the only countries that I've been to in Latin America. But I really want to go to Puerto Rico. I want to go to Dominican Republic because I also have another best friend. She's Dominican too, and she's definitely influenced my Dominican accent as well. And I want to go to DR with both of them. And then I really want to go to Brazil. I want to go to Panama because I love Panamanian music. I want to go to Cuba. I want to go to Mexico as well. And I want to go everywhere in Latin America.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen soon. I feel like every time I talk about something on this pod, it's like a good way of I'm sure you've experienced that too, like manifesting, like
yes,
just like speaking stuff into existence.
Yes.
I don't know if when you do your YouTube videos, is it more like recapping the past or talking about like some stuff that you want to do in the future?
Good question. Because I've kind of been debating should I kind of use my YouTube to manifest or not? And I think it's kind of a mix of working through my emotions real time, and I want people to see like this vulnerability where I'm not afraid to talk about things and process them in front of the camera, to give like a real life example to somebody else who may need to do that as well. But I would say my first chapter is definitely talking about my past because it's kind of who made me me. And I feel like my first chapter is like, who is La Yuca? Who is Erin? Who is Erin? But there's like some episodes, like the later episodes, I kind of started getting up to a point where I was talking about present things. But even in one of the episodes, I was like, I don't know if I should say this because it hasn't really happened yet and I don't want to jinx it. But then there's other things that I say and I'm like, yes, this is a manifestation. So it's kind of like it's kind of like leaving room to where people don't really know if it's happening, or going to happen. But in my head, I know that everything is manifestation.
Fine. What episode are you on? 20.
Yes.
And then when does the chapter end?
I think it's just ended.
At 20?
Yeah.
So every 20 episodes will be a chapter?
I don't know, because I was gonna post more videos, like I was gonna record, but then because my friend, he left and I was sad, and then all these other things were just kind of happening. I felt like it's kind of, okay, time to close the chapter here, kind of focus on a different aspect of my art. And then kind of because I predict that, there's going to be like some changes happening soon in my life. And I just want to be able to kind of allow this chapter to close itself, wrap things up. And then I think I will just feel it in my intuition when it's like time for this new chapter to like open. Because I think recently I've learned that I need to divide my life by quarters. And I think I need to have, like, in the winter, I was focusing on my health. I was going to the gym, going to physical therapy, going to the doctors, fixing all this stuff that I neglected. And then, so that was like more internal. I was reading a lot. I was doing these videos because I was just stuck in my house. Did not leave the house. And then now it's like, oh, summer, the sun, everything. I'm trying to be outside.
Have you been to the beach yet?
Yes. No. And the sand was attacking me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God. Like, Chicago's crazy. The wind, I'm still getting used to it. Yeah. But I think right now I just want to be in a space where I'm having fun. I worked really hard. I healed a lot. I, how to look myself in the face, in the mirror. And I think, I think right now I just want to have fun. And I think when I get back into this mode of like, okay, let's kind of start, getting a little bit more disciplined and concentrating. I think that's kind of when I'm going to pick up the second chapter and kind of just like, okay, guys, like this is where my life is taking me now. Yeah,
that's fine. What, before we wrap up, like why Yuca? Because is that like one of your favorite foods, or I forgot exactly the reason?
So basically, one of my I had a Salvadoran friend, and he was telling me, like, because like in Latino culture, people will make the craziest names because of something like your biggest insecurity or some shit. And so he was telling me like these things that people would call him and growing up. And I'll be like, okay, so what would people call me if I was from there? He'd be like, oh, they called you like Chelita, which is like how Salvadorans say like güero, güera. And so I was like, well, duh, of course they're going to call me that. Make something like more interesting. More unique. And he was like, oh, they're probably going to call you Yuca. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because Yuca pelada, blanquita. And I'm like, oh shit. And you know what? Yuca is really delicious. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah. Yuca is one of the greatest.
With the little salsa verde too.
Yeah,
chef kiss.
That's fire. And now that's your name, your brand.
And I got it tatted.
Just recently?
No, I got it tatted in January 2024 when I went to Salvador for the second time for my birthday.
I love that. I feel like you need a little logo with the Yuca. I can help you with that. But it's really cool. Is there anything that you want to like shout out, or like stuff that you got coming on? Like, so if people could find you at, what's your YouTube?
Okay, so my YouTube is, the @ just Erin La Yuca, which is ErinLayuca, but the title of like my channel is called La Libreta de la Yuca. And even if you don't speak Spanish, you can still listen because like, the captions and stuff, they can be in English. But my personal Instagram is Erin La Yuca, and my fashion Instagram is La Yuca Moda, which is LAYUCA MODA. And I have an Etsy. vision is to have my own website, but I don't know how to do all that. So right now we gotta go to Etsy, and I have 4 bags actually up there, which they're all beaded, they're all handmade, they're using like repurposed, recycled, thrifted items. And they have like beads on them that I beaded, hand beaded, like up to 10, 20 hours
like
of me beading.
Like the long sleeve that you wear for the...
Like the hibiscus top. And I have those on Etsy, and if anybody is interested, you can go check out those bags. All of the profits will be donated to a group that is on the ground working in Egypt with refugees from Gaza. So, if anybody would like to support that initiative, you can check out my Etsy.
That's awesome. I did want to talk Spanish for a bit, but I don't know what to talk about. I feel like you should take over.
Entonces, dime, ¿cuál es una inspiración que tú usas en tu arte? ¿Qué significa ser artista para ti?
Ser artista significa, como decir, mi historia. Mi abuelita, siempre estoy pensando en ella, porque ella era la persona que me enseñó cómo creer en mí mismo, pero también hacer arts and crafts. I don't know how do you say arts and crafts. Hacer arte y hacer cosas.
Manualidades.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know more words than me. Entonces, siempre pienso en ella cuando estoy haciendo arte, como cómo se sentía crear tu propio mundo. Y ahora con la ropa también me gusta hablar de la historia de Bogotá y mi proceso de inmigración, y eso es lo que trato de hacer.
Te enseñó a creer en ti mismo, y siento que eso es muy importante porque yo como artista, yo tengo 27 años y siento que mi camino de artista ha sido un poco... Es mi camino, no me quejo por el tiempo ni nada, pero siento que es como yo ojalá, a mis 20 años hubiera estado más involucrada en mi propio proceso de arte, pero porque yo no crecí en un ambiente donde me enseñaron a creer en mí misma. Entonces yo tuve que superar eso primero para después llegar a poder creer en mi arte. Entonces es muy bello que tú vienes con esa seguridad, esa confianza en ti mismo, y que te enseñó eso tu abuela. Eso es muy bonito, porque yo no crecí con mis abuelos.
Ok. ¿Nunca los has conocido?
Los abuelos, sí los conocí, pero los padres de mi mamá, ellos vivían en Ohio, y pues yo los veía quizás una vez cada 2 o 3 años. No tengo mucha comunicación con ellos. Y los padres de mi papá, ellos vivían en West Virginia y Virginia, entonces estaba más cerca como geográficamente hablando, pero no crecí con ellos, quizás los veía como 2 veces al año. Entonces yo estaba, mi familia, mi mamá, mi papá, mi hermana y yo estábamos muy aislados físicamente de nuestra familia extendida.
¿Y todavía están vivos o no sabes?
Mi abuelo, mi abuela paterna, ella tuvo 2 esposos. Mi abuelo biológico ya murió. Mi abuelastro ya murió también. Mi abuela, no sé de ella realmente. Ella, pues, cuando corté relaciones, o sea, con mi papá, ya también con esa gente, mi tía y mi primo, porque ellos son iguales y pues, tú sabes. Y entonces, la verdad, no sé de ella. Pero mi abuela materna, ella tiene cosas como Alzheimer, demencia, como que cosas neurológicas. Sí, está como... Y creo que mi abuelo la está cuidando, la verdad. Y esto suena como muy frío, maybe, decir esto, que la verdad yo no sé mucho de mi abuela. Y pues... yo saco mucha inspiración de mis abuelas. Yo digo siempre que mi historia no comenzó conmigo, comenzó con mis 2 abuelas. Pero siento que... Entonces yo las llevo en mi corazón, pero por las cosas que pasaron con mis padres, no hablo con mis abuelos tampoco, porque yo siento que ellos más van a defender a
sus hijos.
Exacto. Porque mi familia es el tipo de familia que ellos son muy hush-hush, son muy callados, no les gusta hablar de lo que está pasando en la familia, quieren esconder los secretos, quieren esconder lo que todos han hecho.
Eso es algo que estoy aprendiendo ahora, que... Cuando yo estaba creciendo pensé que mi familia era como perfecta y todos eran como que no teníamos drama. Pero ahora que estoy creciendo veo que hay harta cosas que ha pasado y como tíos y tías que cheated on each other y
Es como, what the fuck?
yeah. Pero cada familia tiene esas experiencias, creo, pero es importante poder hablar y tener mejores relaciones con personas. Entonces, ¿hay harto racismo en Charlotte? ¿O no acabé de ver se llama Black Klansman. Es una película de un policía que se metió en el KKK para entrar. Es una buena película, pero cuando pienso en como el South, siempre pienso como la gente es racista, pero así es harto o no tanto.
Siento que es muy buena pregunta porque obviamente sabemos que el racismo existe en todo el país, pero se ve manifestado diferente dependiendo de la área que estés en el país. En el sur hay mucha, mentalmente hablando, por ejemplo, mi primer novio que tuve en el bachillerato, él es de un país que se llama Eritrea, que es un país del este de África. Entonces, él en Estados Unidos racialmente se considera negro. Entonces, cuando comenzamos a salir en el bachillerato, andar en una relación interracial fue algo que yo pensé que para ese tiempo, 2015, era más normalizado. Pero después mi novio en ese tiempo siempre como que me decía, mira, ellos nos están dando una mirada como muy rara, nos están vigilando más, nos están como que diciendo cosas. Y después eso me abrió los ojos, literal, de que wow, like, todavía mentalmente la gente tiene mucha... la gente anda muy rezagada. Ni voy a decir rezagada porque es como la mentalidad nunca cambió. Las leyes cambiaron, pero las mentalidades nunca cambiaron. Y siento que porque hay menos acceso a recursos en el sur, la gente es más vulnerable en el sur, la gente es más marginalizada en el sur. Entonces, no quiero decir que es... Porque también mucha gente quiere decir, el sur de Estados Unidos no sirve para nada, porque solo hay gente estúpida, gente que es republicana, gente que solo vota, pero hay mucha historia en el sur y hay mucha gente con mucho talento, hay mucha gente con muchas cosas bellas que decir que viven en el sur. Y solo siendo del sur, siento que más gente necesita más recursos en el sur y más gente debería hacerle caso porque hay mucha historia de resistencia en el sur y deberíamos aprender más de eso en vez de como decir, oh no, empujémoslo al lado porque es el sur y esa gente ignorante. No, hay mucha gente con muchas cosas para aportar al movimiento, a la resistencia en el sur.
Eso es importante y creo que siendo de Chicago nunca pensé ir al sur, pero tengo que visitar y ir más, no sé.
Siento que también algo que cuando vine a Chicago, algo que fue súper diferente para mí era que aquí hay mucho acceso a transporte público y en el sur no existe.
Todo está como más lejos.
Sí, si no tienes carro no puedes hacer ni mierda. O sea, porque... digamos, en el vecindario donde crecí yo, para salir del vecindario eran como 2 millas y después tenés que seguir caminando para ir al súper. O sea, sin carro eso te dura como 2 horas o más solo para ir al súper. Pero yo puedo caminar 8 minutos al Cermac y es hasta tener una tienda como PSA a la vuelta de la esquina de mi casa. No se puede imaginar, o sea, siendo del sur es como, wow, qué shock, yo tengo acceso de solo salir de mi chanti a caminar y llegar a una tienda donde existen artistas y existen ideas y existe gente que cree en su visión, cree en su sueño, cree en sí misma, es como, wow, eso es también muy diferente y siento que todos que son de ciudades grandes como Los Ángeles, Chicago, Nueva York, DC, deberían ir al sur para ver, cómo es el estilo de vida, porque es muy diferente y crecer en el sur es muy... te hace sentir muy sola, muy aislada, muy... porque ni sé cómo articularlo, porque es muy... todo está muy geográficamente distanciado y es más como que, y es más, eso es un tema de la historia racista de este país, como the white flight, right, a los suburbios que no querían estar en el mismo espacio de las ciudades con la gente negra o no blanca y se fueron a los suburbios y por eso todo está muy aislado y todos existimos en base a manejar carros y no usar transporte público. Es crazy.
Cuando te imaginas el futuro, ¿tú crees que te quedas en la ciudad o quieres volver a como un more peaceful?
Yo te voy a ser sincera. Yo me imagino viviendo en Latinoamérica. Pero no como gentrificadora, ¿ok? Like, yo no voy a vivir, tú sabes cómo la gente va a Puerto Rico para evadir impuestos y todo. No. Esa no soy yo. Yo quiero vivir, porque como dije, yo encontré comunidad en la gente, mis amigos negros estadounidenses y mis amigos latinos. Entonces, y siento que yo me encajo muy bien con la gente latina de diferentes culturas latinas y siento que yo quiero vivir con la comunidad, con la gente. Yo quiero seguir aprendiendo de la gente porque como mencioné, crecí blanca, nunca voy a no ser blanca, siempre voy a ser blanca y no quiero caerme en esa mentalidad que lleva la gente blanca. Yo quiero siempre estar rodeada por gente que me va a seguir enseñando cosas, so siempre mantener esa humildad y yo quiero vivir en la gente porque eso es lo que siempre he buscado, comunidad y amor y el calor de la gente. Entonces yo busco eso.
Y no sabes cuál país o cuál piensas.
La verdad
tienes que probar todos para ver cuál te quieres quedar.
Exacto. Y siempre, porque yo siento que es importante luchar, si vivo aquí o en otro país, luchar con la gente también. Entonces, no importa en qué país esté, yo voy a estar luchando con la gente igual.
Bueno, creo que ahí es un buen lugar para end this video. Well, I feel like when I talk Spanish, like it's like a button. Like I have to like click it and then like in my head, I don't know, it feels like two different people. But thank you for coming on. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like I learned a lot about you and I want you to know that we're always here for you. I'm always here for you if you just want to talk or get ideas out. Hopefully we could have that workshop where we do like bedazzle or add stuff to clothes. Like I forget what we said. Like the corner.
Yuca's corner.
Yuca's corner.
El rinconcito la Yuca.
Yeah. So look out for that soon. Maybe we could do it fall. You could follow us at PSA Chicago, Pause Prints. It's pabloale.com. I changed my website, and we're here Thursday through Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m. It's usually just me now, Thursday, Friday, because Matt got a full-time job.
Oh shit! Congratulations
to him. He went back to his old job, but like he's here Saturdays, Sundays. And then the next event is July 5th. I'm doing like a collaborative mural. People are gonna come here and we're all just gonna paint a big canvas together.
What day of the week is that?
Saturday.
Okay. No, I'm gonna request off, like, cause it's far enough in advance that I can request off probably.
I think it's like 2 weeks away.
I'm gonna get somebody to cover my shift.
Yeah, it's like this huge canvas that this company, Proof Studios, like built, and then one side's for fun, and then the other side is like a piece that I outlined. It's like a big coloring book. People just paint it. And
that's so
you'll
cool.
meet a lot of cool artists. But all right, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Bye.